Welcome to the Kendra Woods Show. I'm Kendra Woods, and this is a space for high-achieving women navigating success, self-doubt, and the pressure that often lives beneath it. On this show, we explore the hidden patterns that shape how you lead your life, make decisions, and relate to success. Because success isn't just what you build, it's how you lead yourself. And here, we learn to lead ourselves well. Welcome back to the Kendra Woods Show. I'm your host, Kendra Woods, and today's episode is going to be a little different because today I'm not coming to you from the most polished, most inspired, I have everything together version of myself. I'm coming to you from the honest version of just what I'm feeling and where I'm at right now. The version who almost did not record this episode today. And I thought about trying to push past that and, create something that sounded perfectly packaged. But the more I sat with it, the more I realized that maybe this is the episode. Maybe this is the conversation. Because today I want to talk to you about what it means to follow through when you do not feel like showing up. And I think this is such an important conversation to have. I want to talk about what it means to lead yourself when your emotions are saying not today. And I want to talk about what it means to become a woman who keeps her word to herself, not because it's always easy, not because she's always motivated, and not because life always makes space for it, but because she has decided who she's becoming. And for me, one of the identities I have been holding is this. I am a woman who follows through. And let me tell you, today, that statement is absolutely being practiced because I did not want to record today. I wanted to go to bed, wanted to go to sleep. I wanted to tell myself, oh, you have a lot going on right now, Kendra. It's fine. You can skip this week. You can figure it out later. And listen, there are moments when rest is absolutely leadership. There are moments when pausing is wise. There are moments when your body, your nervous system, and your real life need your attention. So this is not an episode about forcing yourself or pushing yourself or overriding yourself in the name of productivity. That's not what I'm teaching here. What I'm talking about is the moment when you know the difference between needing rest and negotiating with resistance. The moment when you know deep down, okay, this matters to me. This is something I said I wanted to be consistent with. This is a part of the woman I am becoming. And yet, your emotions are not cooperating. Your energy is not matching the commitment. Your mood is not giving you permission. And so then now you have a choice. Do I let this feeling lead me, or do I lead myself through this feeling? And that is what we're going to talk about today, because I believe that so many of us are trying to build lives, businesses, bodies, relationships, careers, and identities that require us to become women who can follow through. But we also have to be honest about the fact that following through does not always feel inspiring. Following through is messy sometimes. Right? Sometimes it just feels ordinary. Sometimes it feels inconvenient. Sometimes it feels like doing the thing while your emotions are in the corner with their arms crossed saying, I don't want to, right? And this is where self-leadership begins. Not in the moment when everything feels aligned, but in the moments when you have to decide whether your identity or your emotions are going to have the final word. And I think this is important because in the online space, in coaching and podcasting and business, and honestly, just in the world as a whole, we see so many highlight reels. We see the polished version. We see the lesson after the person already moved through the thing. We see the breakthrough. We see the win. We see the finished product. And I love inspiring content. Like, I love it. It inspires me. It encourages me. I love seeing women win. I love seeing people move through things that are challenging and come out on the other side. But do you know what else really, really inspires me? The honest middle, the behind the curtain moment, the part where someone says, you know what, this is a hard day today and I'm still here. That to me feels so refreshing. It feels validating. It feels humanizing. And I remember like earlier in my business career, I would think, gosh, I have these mentors and women that I would follow, and I love what they were teaching. I loved the work, but there was a part of me that was really just craving an opportunity to just see how they move through their life in an ordinary way. How do they move through challenges? How do they move beyond their emotions when their emotions are like, nope, don't want to do this today? Like, how do they navigate that? Like, I really just wanted to see like the messy of it. Because to me, it's like, again, that feels very humanizing. And I felt like it was validating. And so we're going to get to that because when all we see is the polished version of someone's journey, what do? We can start to make ourselves wrong for having a human process. We start thinking, why is it so hard for me? Why don't I feel motivated all the time? Why can't I just be consistent? Why does everyone else seem to make this look so easy? But the truth of the matter is, a lot of people are not showing you the moment before they showed up. They are showing you the recording after it was recorded, right? The post after it was written, the workout after they got themselves to the gym, the confidence after the private moments of fear, the leadership after the internal wrestling. And so today, I want to be honest, not because I want to complain, not because I want to make this heavy, but because I want to normalize the real parts of becoming. I want to normalize the part where you do not always feel like doing what you said you wanted to do. I want to normalize the part where your emotions have a lot to say and they're loud. And I want to normalize the part where you can be having a very human moment and still choose the woman that you're becoming. So, I would love to give you a few practical steps for those moments when you do not feel like showing up, but you know the thing still matters. And these are practical steps that I take myself through, that I've learned in my own journey. When there's just been like these moments like I'm feeling today of just feeling flat or just feeling like, oh, I really don't feel like doing this, right? Because I think that it's important for us to equip ourselves with the tools and the knowledge to know how to lead ourselves through these moments when our emotions are making a lot of noise, and it would be easier to just not do the thing that we said we were going to do, where it would be easier to just start again tomorrow. Okay. So the first step is this. Number one, tell the truth about where you are. Not like the dramatic truth, not the shame-filled truth, not the story that says I'm lazy, I'm inconsistent, I never follow through. No, just the clean truth. Today I feel tired. Today I feel resistant. Today I don't feel like doing this. Today I feel emotionally full. Today I would rather avoid doing this. That's it. Just honest. Tell the truth without making it mean something negative about you. Because the feeling is not always the problem. It's the meaning that you attach to the feeling that we attach to it that often creates the spiral. When you feel tired, right? And then you tell yourself, see, I'm not committed. Or maybe you feel some resistance and then you tell yourself, see, I am so inconsistent. Or maybe you feel unmotivated. And then the story you tell yourself is, well, maybe I'm not really meant for this. But what if it just means that you're having a human day? What if it just means this is one of those moments where your emotions are present and you get to lead yourself with compassion? So, first and foremost, tell the truth. The second step is this: separate your feelings from your identity. This has been like a game changer for me. How you feel today is real, okay? But it is not the full worth of who you are. Your feeling might say, I don't want to. Your identity might say, but this matters to me. Your feeling may say to you, let's avoid this. We don't need to do this today. Your identity might say, we can make it smaller, but we're not abandoning it. And this is where you ask yourself, who do I decide to be before this feeling got loud? And that question is powerful. Who did I decide to be before the tiredness got loud, before the doubt got loud, before the resistance got loud, before the inconvenience got loud, before the I don't feel like it got loud? And so for me today, the answer was I decided to be a woman who follows through. I decided to be consistent with this podcast. I decided that this show matters to me. And that does not mean my emotions are bad. Okay. Your emotions are not bad. Your emotions are information. They deserve compassion. They deserve listening, but they do not always need to be in charge. There is a difference between honoring your emotions and handling and handing them the steering wheel. Okay. The third step is lower the pressure, not the standard. And this is a big one because when you are in resistance, one of the worst things you can do is make the task heavier. So if I had told myself, okay, Kendra, you need to record the most profound, polished, perfectly structured episode you've ever recorded, I probably would have stayed stuck. That would have just created more pressure. And pressure is not always what we need. Sometimes what we need is just permission to let the thing be honest, to let it be simple, to let it be complete without needing it to be perfect, to lower the pressure, not the standard. The standard is I am a woman who follows through. The pressure is it has to be perfect. It's got to be polished. It's got to be impressive and better than anything I've ever created. Do you see the difference? The standard can remain intact while the expression adjusts to your capacity. So for me today, the follow through was not create the most polished episode possible. The follow through was record an honest episode that speaks to where you really are. Done. Right. And that still honors the commitment that serves you, my audience, and that still keeps me in integrity. But it does not require me to perform a version of myself that is not present today. So ask yourself, what is the smallest, honest version of follow through available to me today? So for a workout, maybe it's not, 60 minutes in the gym. Maybe it's just 20 minutes of movement. For writing an email, maybe it's not the perfect polished message. Maybe it is just writing the first draft. For having the conversation, maybe it's not saying, everything perfectly. Maybe it is simply starting with, I want to talk about something and I may not say this perfectly, but I want to be honest, right? Lower the pressure, keep the devotion, lower the pressure. Okay. The fourth step is stop negotiating with the resistance. Oh my gosh, we do this. We do this. Stop negotiating with the resistance. Because sometimes when we think, sometimes when we're resting, we're not resting, we're negotiating. Right. And so if I would have said, you know what, I'm just going to go lay in my bed and I'm just going to lay there and maybe watch TV or whatever, I guarantee you I would have had this nagging feeling inside of me like, but Kendra, you decided that you were going to be a woman that follows through, that is consistent with their podcast. It would have nagged me and nagged me, nagged me. And I could have laid there in my bed and said, no, but I need to rest. I'm resting, right? That would have been me negotiating with my resistance. And the longer we negotiate, the more convincing the resistance becomes. And I know you've probably caught yourself doing this. I catch myself doing this at times. It starts with, I don't feel like it. Then it becomes, maybe it doesn't matter. Then it becomes, maybe I should just skip it. Then it becomes, you know what? Maybe no one will care anyway. Then suddenly we're not just deciding whether to do the thing. We are questioning like our entire identity. So sometimes you need a loving interruption, not a harsh one, right? Not just get over it and go do it, but more of a, loving interruption. Something like, I hear you and we are still going to take the next step. I hear you and we are still opening the laptop. I hear you and we are still putting on the shoes. I hear you and we are still pressing record, right? Do you see how that's different? Because you're acknowledging how you feel, you're acknowledging what's coming up, and you're saying, okay, and we're going to go do this thing. And you want to make the next action so simple that you do not have time to overthink it. Okay. Not the whole mountain, you all, just the next move. Just the next simple move. Okay. The fifth step is this: use the 10-minute entry point. I love this one. Tell yourself, I only have to give this 10 minutes. That does not mean you are only going to do 10 minutes. It just means 10 minutes in the doorway, because starting is often the hardest part, right? I was telling my daughter this the other day because she's taking a summer Algebra 1 class because she wants to um, be ahead with her math requirements for graduation, right? And so she asked me in the car, she's like, Mom, she's like, what do you do when you just don't feel like doing the thing you know you need to do, right? And I told her this. I said, you know what? I said, the hardest thing is just getting started. I said, so instead of you thinking about completing a whole entire module today, how about you just set a timer for 10 minutes or 15 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever feels right for you, and you just get started, right? And I told her, I said, when I do that, I said, what I find happens is I set my timer for the 10 minutes or I set my timer for the 25 minutes and I just say, okay, I'm going to do it for 25 minutes and I do the thing. I said, once I actually get started, it's actually easier to keep going. And I find that I stay with the task longer than I thought I would, right? So just get in the doorway. Okay. You don't have to feel ready to finish. You just have to be willing to begin. All right. So ask yourself, what can I do for 10 minutes? Can I write for 10 minutes? Can I record for 10 minutes? Can I take one small step for 10 minutes? And then after 10 minutes, you can reassess. But at least now you have moved from avoidance into action. And the final step is this: celebrate the follow through, not in a performative way, but just pause long enough to let your nervous system register. I kept my word. And high achieving women often skip this part. We do the thing and immediately we're moving on to the next thing. Or we do the thing and start critiquing like how well we did it. But part of building self-trust is letting the follow through land. So after you do the thing, pause and say, I followed through. I kept my word. I showed up for myself today. I chose the woman I am becoming. Because every time you do that, especially when you don't feel like it, you are giving yourself evidence. Evidence that you can trust yourself, evidence that your emotions can be present without running everything, evidence that you can do hard things gently, evidence that you are becoming the woman you said you wanted to be. Okay? So let's recap the steps. When you do not feel like showing up, ask yourself, what am I honestly feeling right now? Who did I decide to be before this feeling got loud? What is the smallest honest version of follow through available for me today? What is the next move I can take in the next 10 minutes? And then after I take that step, how can I acknowledge myself for following through? That is the reset. That is the practice. And that is what I am practicing in real time today. As soon as I'm done recording this episode and getting it published for you all, I am going to take a moment and let myself see the evidence that, Kendra, you showed up today. All right. So this episode is not about one episode. It is about identity. It is about becoming. It's about the woman we are practicing being through our choices. And I also want to say this. So in the coming episodes, I'm going to be bringing you along with me in a very real way as I step into a new season of my life from a career standpoint. There are so many transitions and plot twists happening for me. There are so many new rhythms that I'm moving into. There are parts of my life that are shifting, and I want to be honest about what it looks like to lead myself through that. Not from a place of like oversharing, not from a place of making my life the whole message, but from a place of saying, here is what self-leadership looks like in real time. Here's what it looks like to navigate change. Here's what it looks like to honor your commitment while your life is shifting. Here's what it looks like to redefine success in a new season. Here's what it looks like to be a woman who follows through even when the structure of your life is changing. So this episode is almost like the beginning of that conversation. Because today I'm not just talking about follow through as a concept. I'm practicing it in real time. And so over the next few episodes, I want to bring you with me as I continue to unpack what this season is teaching me about identity, consistency, success, leadership, and becoming the woman I say I want to be. So today, let this be your invitation. Choose one thing, not 10, one thing that matters to the woman you're becoming, one thing you have been avoiding, one thing you said you wanted to follow through on. And then ask yourself, okay, what is the smallest honest step I can take today? Then take that step. Let it be imperfect, let it be simple, let it be complete. And when you're done, pause long enough to say, I followed through. Right? Because this is how you build self trust. This is how you become the woman, not by waiting for the perfect feeling, but by choosing her in real life. And so before we close, I want to gently invite you, if today's conversation spoke to you, if the idea of leading yourself from identity instead of pressure speaks to where you are right now, I would love to invite you to join the Lead Like Her waitlist. Lead Like Her is my self-leadership experience for ambitious, high-achieving women who are ready to redefine success and lead themselves in a more grounded, self-trusting, sustainable way. Enrollment is not open right now, but if you feel called to explore it when the next round opens, you can join the waitlist. The list will be in the show notes. No pressure, just an invitation. Because this work is for the woman who knows she is becoming someone new and she does not want to keep leading herself through pressure, overthinking, second guessing, or self abandonment. She wants to lead from calm authority. She wants to trust herself. She wants to follow through from devotion, not force. And if that is you, I would love to have you on the wait list. All right, my love, this is what I have for you today. Not from the most polished version of me, but from the honest version, the version who almost just closed the laptop and went to bed, the version who pressed record anyway, the version who is practicing becoming a woman who follows through. So until next time, lead yourself well.